And we're live.
You don't want to say hello, welcome everyone to Social Justice Alchemy. Bash here on the Alchemy Bitch is me, Summer, and a non-binary person, Geek. John Prankman over there. Below me is Isaiah Taylor with the Star Wars shirt. Already! I'm sorry, I'm
well
already.
Done, Sasha. Good time.
It's Empire Strikes Back, man. And we are joined by guests today.
Ozma in the Dark.
Ozma in the Dark. Introduce yourself to.
I'm Ozma in the Dark. I've been doing streaming off and on for a bit now. Partially, life has gotten in the way a couple times, so that's.
I saw a recent stream of yours. I was there in the chat.
Yeah, no, I saw you in chat. I remember that, and you corrected me because I apparently didn't brain time, which was helpful. Yes. Thank you.
And I also repeated a funny joke I heard about dark humor.
Oh, yeah, that joke. Yeah. Yeah.
You're also part of a kind of almost like this thing, as it were, like a YouTube live stream show of gender fluid voices. That I got the title correct?
Well, ideally it would be more fluid, but we just try to talk to a lot of different people. That's the general goal. A lot of people are LGBTQ because it's hard not to, but not everybody. Some people are just people different from us. There's one cishet straight LA guy and a binary trans woman who co-host with me, and I'm girl flux, so
yeah.
It's not as fluid as would be ideal, but I don't know. We'll find a way to get some more varied. But we'll get trans men.
Why don't you have more cishet white guys on there? God.
Oh God.
Okay, they allowed.
Look, we had Steve Shives on once because Christy knows
everybody.
Oh,
but he's so obviously a self-hating cis. That doesn't count.
yes. Steve Shives is our one self-hating cis friend that we all. One self-hating white cis friend that we all have. Because Isaiah here with us too, but he's black and autistic, so he's already in a marginalized category as well, especially in America. So
even in his own community, he's marginalized.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's something we can definitely get into. And of course, our friend Taffy the Wolf is joining us as well. Hello. Okay. Before I forget, Isaiah was mentioning this before we just went live, or before the music stopped and stuff like that. He's going to watch that Titanic movie. I should have asked which Titanic movie. Is it one of the many live-action Titanic movies, or is it a couple of the really bad?
Wherever you are.
James Cameron's Titanic.
I see. Yes, because there's also
here's why. Because I grew up with that movie. Because
fair.
I think that was the first movie that really got me into ships and things. It was an autism movie to me because it was all these things, oh, what does this do? What does that do? This is awesome.
And then a guy falls off the back of the ship and bounces off the propeller, and Kate Winslet's tits were amazing.
I will confess, when the movie came out, the only thing I knew about it is my parents didn't want me to see it because there was one nudity scene in it, and everyone else in my school of my age, which were not even high school aged.
Middle school.
Oh, no, it was third grade, I think I was.
Oh, you were third grade. I was in middle school with that.
When was that?
97, I think.
Yeah, 96, 97.
Yeah, I think it was actually in third grade, actually in public school then, for one of the few times I was public school at that age. And of course, all the other kids picked on me for not seeing it because they saw the nudity scene. Kids are horrible.
Yeah, I agree.
Kids are monsters, yes.
But yeah, I watched there's a movie they made about the Titanic sister ship called the Britannic. So HMAS Britannic, His Majesty's Hospital Ship Britannic, which is also an Olympic class ocean liner like the Titanic.
Yep. There was an excellent episode of Our Fake History. It was several episodes of Our Fake History, talking about the Titanic and how it immediately got this reputation. It was hubris that sank the Titanic. And no, they were doing the reasonable precaution things. It was just terrible luck. And it was not designed to be the fastest ship ever. It was designed to be a luxury cruise ship, not going particularly fast and so on. It's just that the editor of one of those big newspapers really, really hated the guy who owned the Titanic.
For the Lusitania and the Mauritania, those were fast.
Olympia, I think, was faster as well.
It's FYI, I wanted to point out, hey, Emily Chambers, thank you for dropping in, saying hi. It's like
anyway.
But thanks so much for the links to that. I got the name of the show wrong, Fluid Voice, as it were, and the YouTube channel is there. I did find Ozma in the Dark's Twitch channel, so I put the link in there. And Ozma in the Dark has her own YouTube channel, and Emily Chambers provided the link for that too. So thank you so much.
Am I weird, everybody?
Yes.
Who are you talking to? is because I am wearing a Steins Gate t-shirt. Conveniently enough, where my nipples are also form the noses for the two female characters on the shirt. I kind of just realized that as I was thought in the mirror.
I mean, just way to ruin it. Anime girls don't have noses.
If you are weird, yes, but like embrace that because it's okay. You're allowed to be weird here. Yes. I mean,
you're so weird, you might as well be in Portland.
I mean, I'm in Seattle. I'm in the other city that's like Portland, or in Portland's like the other city like Seattle. So yeah. So you're going to watch the James Cameron version of Titanic as opposed to the two terrible animated Titanic movies, because yes, those do exist.
Yes. Every night in my dream.
Yeah, you're going to like sing Celine Dion. My mom loves that song. For
Christmas, I'm buying a 350 scale model of the ship. So.
Oh, nice.
Isaiah does like do like a lot of model building, but hey, you're in good company here, which is the whole reason why I invited Nick Anderson to talk about the Railway series a long time ago, because like a lot of people in this like chat. John Brockman, I was half expecting that was like Isaiah doing that, which is like
wherever you are. Oh no, did the cat? No, the cat turned off moved the camera screen. Cat.
I'm guessing that we've got a little fluffy tail floating up in front of the camera there, yeah?
Typical cat behavior. It's like wanted to make sure that that we all see its butt.
Because I'm cat sitting my parents' cats.
That's fine. Hello, Mithril. No apologies for like this. It's okay. Cute cats. And now the cats are going to just take over the stream as they always do.
Yep. It's a requirement. Yeah, Shadow.
I thought if I was Jack, Jack who drew a picture of Kate Winslet, I think I know who I would draw a picture of.
Okay. Kate Winslet?
Jessie Gender.
Oh yeah, Jessie Gender is cool.
Because she when she did sex in Star Trek, she was like in some like some lingerie that I thought was pretty attractive. So.
Yep. I gotta like watch more for content, but now she's doing the thing where it's like any like video essayist that's like a video essays on like YouTube for a long enough time. They're just it's like the power creep where the videos essays get longer and longer and longer. She just did a 5-hour video essay, and it's just like, okay. We kind of gotten used to some really good feature-length videos that are like an hour or more long, but some of those videos are also good in that they're in parts and in breaks, and they have the breaks already in YouTube videos, so you can watch it and then come back to it later, and that's so fine. But now it's just
My question is, how does she have a computer software that renders videos that long?
You can render a video that long with I'm trying to remember my software. I can't check it. This isn't my computer.
I have DaVinci Resolve, so I don't.
Well, I've got DaVinci Resolve, but the processor makes a big difference. Yes. If you use it on the faster hard drives, they're usually smaller. Faster internal hard drive. So if you do a combination of those, you could probably render a 5-hour video in like an hour or two with a good processor and all that. Like,
I'm poor. I just have a lap. Okay, the only way I got my laptop was when I was involved in a bus accident. I got $1,000 compensation.
Ooh,
that's how I got my laptop. So I'm poor. So,
yeah.
But you started making movies, like old-fashioned, traditional, like with people on the set.
I used to be jealous of people who had better resources, but I don't really find it appealing to be jealous of people like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got significantly more money by getting hit by an SUV as a pedestrian. I think that was closer to $5,000, which is why I have a decent computer. But also, I know people with better computers, so I can buy parts, oftentimes cheap. Yeah. So I can buy cheap parts for a lot of stuff, like the modder I use on my main computer, and the secondary monitor are all like modders that I bought used from someone else or was given by friends or family. It's just, but to be fair, I also have middle class white privilege, so.
Yes.
Well, I mean, I don't. Indirectly, I do. So right. It's complicated. I'm poor as hell.
Why'd you have to go and make things so complicated?
And I know people who, or not rich, but they're middle class, and I know people who have decent amounts of money. So I have a lot of the cultural aspects, social aspects of middle class privilege, but at the same time, with regards to autism and traumatic brain injury and a bunch of other stuff, it's hard to get work. It's hard to get part-time work, and so I'm mostly going off of food stamps and plasma donation, and the fact that my mom is middle class and is willing to make sure I have a place to live.
Yeah. So I guess I'm just screwed, I guess.
Well, society has done its best to try to screw you.
Yes.
Well, as always, the best way to get money is have rich parents.
Yes. Exactly.
Yeah, no, that is the
so go back in time and be
they're
born
not
rich,
even they're not even rich, they're middle class, but yeah, they're like yeah.
Well, my mom was middle class. She was an accountant for the Attorney General of the state of Florida, so we lived in a pretty middle class house, but after she died, we were broke as hell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, that's a story for a lot of people too. That we know a lot of our friends that we know as some form of disabled and can't work or can't find work, and so Tavi's disabled, and Tavi also did the pro streamer moment of talking with the mic is off. So it's just I streamed for an entire hour with my mic muted and didn't realize until I went to a break. It's crap, I was saying a lot and no one was watching, so no one told me that my mic was muted. Oh, so now I'm paranoid every time I stream what I do.
I have had a lot of white people help me. That's good.
Yeah, but I was about to mention about my computer, and I grew up middle class too, so it's just if for some reason I lose my job or I have a housing situation that is difficult, I would ask my dad, and I think for sure that my dad would allow me to stay at his place, so I have middle class and white privilege there of having some kind of social safety net there, even though I love my dad, and so far we haven't. Our political differences haven't gotten too bad, even though I'm the one to bring up my political differences with him. It's understandable that they think differently. I think so far. But like, where was I going with that? But I know like quite a bit of other people that like the only reason that they have a house is because they're staying with their parents or their family, and so yeah. And hey, that's right. That's what I meant to say. It's Disability Pride Month, everyone. But again, Pride's canceled. It's all Wrath.
It's all Wrath.
So
I can go on about that.
You know, actually, now that you're here, I wanted to like ask you, because you did back when you were in New Jersey, you did a bit of research of like what kind of programs that like someone disabled can like use or take advantage of the federal or the state governments like providing housing as were, and it's kind of like,
oh yeah. It was like, but only if you live in certain areas. And then I look into the areas, and they're all the really like suburban areas that are far away from the larger cities that have the better hospitals, and where I'm less likely to find, you know, it was a program to help disabled people buy a house, but you have to buy it in the areas they say, and the areas they say are like really out there, away from more developed city areas.
Oh yeah, I would never be able to buy a house unless I won the lottery. But when I look at assisted apartment stuff, like every place has all these complaints about massive infestations, and I'm like,
oh yeah.
Yeah.
They want to punish people for having the audacity to be poor.
Yeah.
It's way the discouragement of like being poor. So it's just like and again,
they have no choice. It's just what you're.
Yeah, that is a problem though, and it's but like it's a deterrence from like for other people as an example, unfortunately, and even
you're born into it. There's no deterrence being born into a situation you can't really fix.
Exactly.
Just under capitalism, we have to turn debt into a moral thing.
And when you apply it particularly to disabled people, it's being punished for having the audacity to just say, no, seriously, I know my limits, I know my body, I know what I can and can't do. This is my reality.
Liar.
And
which I like that liar.
It goes straight back. A lot of the stuff to make disabled people's lives harder and the attitudes about disabled people go back to things like Reagan's whole thing with, quote, welfare queens, which was straight up an attack specifically on Black women.
Oh yeah. That he was just a white supremacist.
Yeah, and
I didn't leave the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party left me by helping Black people.
Kennedy also did that too. I think didn't Kennedy like close all the asylums or something? I'm not sure.
I don't remember if Kennedy closed the asylums as well. I remember that a lot of mental health facilities were closed in like in the 90s. And if I remember correctly, I have to do research on this, is because like there was like a whole like news report about like the deadly restraints and like people dying in those like mental health facilities because of like a lot of abusive practices. So, but their response to that was to just close those facilities. But like if you just close facilities and don't put in something else to help the mental health of people, then I think that's why a lot of mental health people are like out in the streets. It could also do with just like austerity across the board, as like Emily Chambers brought up. No, that's not austerity, that's audacity. My dyslexia affected my way of reading again.
50 years ago, when President John F. Kennedy signed the Community Mental Health Act into law, the quality of life for hundreds of thousands of men, women, and children in Massachusetts and across America was stunted and grim. For the most part, daily life was a gray tableau behind locked institutional doors. I'm reading an article by Vic DeGravio at wbur.org. WBUR. Okay. Radio. All right. Patients in line facilities are subject to retaliation if they complain about conditions. Young members are discouraged, etc., etc. Final bill he signed into law before his death. Kennedy called for society to embrace a new vision for people with mental health disorders and developmental disabilities, one in which the cold mercy of custodial care would be replaced by the open warmth of community. So basically, it went from treating people with disabilities and disorders as criminals to treating them as patients who needed to be cared for. So what Kennedy did was a good thing. What Bill Clinton did was austerity bullshit.
Yes.
I will say on that description you just gave, John Brockman, of how disabled people are being treated.
It's much the same today.
It depends on the group of disabled people. Big content warning for if you look up this hashtag, you will find videos of actual human torture of children. Hashtag stop the shock.
That's right.
Oh yes, autistic care.
Yeah.
The JRC, was it Justice Rottenberg?
Judge
Center?
Rottenberg Center.
And it's not just there. That's one of the most infamous ones. There's other stuff I've read about autistic people effectively just being put in cages and forgotten in mental health facilities. While their parents and other loved ones protest to try to get them out, and then being told that, oh no, you need to listen to us, the authorities, and that you're.
And then there was that terrible movie that people abused. Yep. And people abused
fuck Sia.
For.
Yeah, fuck her.
I looked at no.
Not in a good way. Not in a good way.
No.
You think white people with autism get treated better than other people with autism?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
She even went, and I remember there was this thing. She invited a bunch of autistic people, and I believe it also specifically did include non-speaking autistic people to watch the video and give their feedback. Their feedback was, "This is fucking atrocious," and they ran with the video anyway.
See, I'm trying to remember. Was it Jesse Gender who did a video about that goddamn movie?
I know.
One of the many people I follow on YouTube did a video essay on it.
Yeah, I think she did.
She did.
Someone else. A couple of people did videos about it. There's a girl named Paige Liao. She did a video about it.
I think a lot of people did do a bit of that, but I definitely remember just talked about it. I now know.
Yep, Sia's music, the trap of symbolic autistic representation. She compared it unfavorably to the movie that Dakota Fanning did, in which she played an autistic fan of Star Trek.
Stand by.
Oh yeah,
it's interesting because I kind of had a huge crush on Dakota Fanning from back in the day.
And then she basically played you in that movie. An autistic white girl who loves Star Trek.
Oh, Sia also works with Autistic Speaks.
Oh,
no.
Wait, all right. Yes, it's for those who somehow don't know about Autistic Speak, it's really Autistic Mom Speaks, as they speak over autistic people, as it were. And
it's white.
It's not even just that. Autistic moms speak. The autistic moms speak after they've heard the pitch from the ABA people, whose idea of treating autistic people is to try to do things like forcibly grab, like an autistic kid is stimming. What does ABA say you should do? Forcibly grab the kid's hands and force the kid's hands into their lap to force them to stop stimming, no matter how much they protest.
Shit that happened in the goddamn movie.
Because clearly conversion therapy methods work so well that we should use them on every disabled person.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a minor element of ABA that I mentioned.
Well,
yeah.
And then it's like, I feel like the only way some people with autism can get recognized, like I notice this a lot with like cosplayers, like women who have autism, is that they're cosplayers, but and then I guess they just sell their body. They like sexualize their body and sell it. I don't know.
Well, sex work is work, and like, and not all of your cosplayers will do that. I can see you do. At least the ones that I notice a lot more are the ones that tend to do that. But there's plenty of like just cosplayers that do enjoy the cosplay and that sort of thing too.
Yeah, that's me. So
okay, yeah, and I can definitely see how like if there's like that's one of your special interests is cosplay. I can definitely see how like more and more autistic people will be like really into that as well, especially with like anime, fantasy, video games, and like cartoons and comics and that sort of thing.
And I say go ahead. You know, I'm glad you were able to make a living doing that.
Yeah.
Considering that most people on the spectrum have really poor job outlooks. So
Especially when you're trying to prove that like you're disabled as it were because of the spectrum. Tavi's friend Lin Wu have like talked about that it's her before on her channel, and she's Lin P in the chat when she shows up. That like she fortunately did get on SSI, which has its own problems like the asset limit.
Yep.
You cannot
asset limit, and you can lose your benefits if you get married.
That's right. There's no marriage equality if disabled people lose their benefits for getting married. They don't automatically become not disabled if they get married. But like, so the Lin Wu, for her going to a new place is just very terrifying and as a word of experience. She has to like be acclimated into like a new place in order to get comfortable, and then comfortable enough for a job interview too. And so okay, I might be comfortable getting in the right space to get comfortable to do a job interview or something like that because I'm an actor too. So it's just like, hi, I'm the role of the perfect candidate for your job. Here's my credentials. How doing this? This seriously, my drama teacher uses all of her acting techniques whenever she's in socializing and interacting with everyone, and it makes sense. I bet my drama teacher is on the spectrum as it were, especially audio. That when someone else is talking, she can't, it all muddles and she can't hear anything else. So she's often the person going, quit talking, you stop talking. Makes her hell on wheels, but she was a surrogate mother too, so she was always care for her people as it were. Go ahead.
I need to get going because one of my next engagement is starting earlier than I thought.
Where are you going? I'm just kidding.
Dungeons and Dragons, all trans girl game. We're going to a ball with a bunch of nobles who are about to be told that they're basically their whole world is being turned upside down, and we kind of expect a bunch of eldritch horrors from possibly 2 different alternate universes to invade and attack, and it's going to be a ballroom blitz. Okay.
That sounds like a wonderful D&D time.
Yeah, that sounds like. I hope you enjoy yourself. That sounds amazing.
If I can just say something on like something Jonathan brought up, you brought it up over on my server, Jonathan.
I think so, yeah. About
all the people like should we work on making conservatives feel less alienated and more listened to?
Yeah.
I can rant about that very briefly.
Sure, go ahead.
Go ahead, yeah.
Okay.
I got stuff to say to that too, but go ahead.
I have stuff as well. Go first.
I would say you go first, except I'm gonna get out of here.
Yeah.
But autistic people aren't listened to. We were just talking about this when we say end fucking ABA and actual torture of autistic people. Disabled people have a hard time getting listened to when they ask for things like basic physical not necessarily physical and mental health accommodations, ending asset limits on SSI, ending marriage inequality for disabled people. Black people don't get listened to when they protest for Black Lives Matter and say, hey, we're fucking done with this whole police violence against us thing. It's fucked up. Indigenous people don't get listened to when they say, hey, US, you should fucking actually abide by your treaties. You should fucking actually give some of this land back, or a good fuck ton of it back. You should, how long did it take for them to get listened to be like, hey, we should end all this boarding school crap where you're torturing Indigenous children? That only ended, actually, I'm not even sure that completely 100% ended, but within our like, for the people here, within our parents' generation, just like recent history, still there's like various encroachments on Indigenous land, violence. Look up hashtag MMIW, million missing Indigenous women. That's a big fucking deal.
Yep.
I could go on and on and on. If conservatives that want to whine about, but we're so alienated as white people on the one end with the really obvious white supremacists, and then one's like, but I don't agree with all that white supremacist stuff, but I agree with them on their economic stuff. Okay, if you agree with conservatives on economic stuff, I run into this a lot, but you disagree with them on all the white supremacist crap, and you're saying, oh, but I'm going to still vote for them because I like their economic policies. What does it say about you as a person that you're willing to choose your financial gain over the actual human lives of other people?
Mm-hmm.
And conservatives get a lot out of politics. So if conservatives want to cry about being alienated and not being listened to, I'll say the horrible thing I said in my Discord again. They can cry as a fucking river and maybe help with a water shortage somewhere.
I agree with you completely, Tabby. I don't really want to. I don't care. It's like they don't listen to us when we need stuff, when we generally need stuff. They don't care about us.
But when people ask for violence against them to be ended.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't give a shit. I don't care if white men are being left behind.
Or they're not like allowed to speak at like a certain colleges, and like, or like how they like get kicked off of like Twitter or Facebook, or or I'm being canceled, and it's just like you're speaking to millions of people.
Or
it's have to pay just a little bit more taxes than they already do when they don't really pay a lot of taxes.
And it's like I used to kind of like say like, okay, you're lonely, and that's probably why, maybe that's reasons for some people to cause violence. But I'm like, I'm lonely. I don't go out and kill people and shit. I don't really, being a black person, it's like we're always angry, but we don't go out there and kill people and shoot. Mm-hmm. So no, I don't care if they're alienated. I'm welcome to the club. That's what I gotta say. Now you see
black people doing all the school shootings.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yep. And hey, who shot all those black people in Buffalo? Oh, right, not a black guy.
Is white supremacist that was radicalized online and other places.
All right, I gotta get going. Take care, all. You're all hecking wonderful.
Thanks for stopping by.
Glad to meet you, Ozma. I'm sorry I didn't get to get to know you better.
It's okay. I'll force you onto my show at some point.
Okay. Take care, everybody.
I hope enjoy Dungeons and Dragons, my friend.
Will do.
Yes. Emily Chambers provided some more resources that I should like to look up and research myself. Hello, Limpy, and George from P is also like doing D&D later today too. And Emily Chambers.
I played D&D. Well, I was going to play D&D yesterday.
Oh, yeah, right.
Somebody didn't show up, so we couldn't play.
Oh, okay. Hey, Indigenous Heretic, and according to Emily Chambers, the last official Indigenous school closed in the 90s. So in our lifetimes.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
That's I'll do a little bit of genocide.
As for the conservative stuff, yeah, it's you can't win because it's not about. It's sort of like arguing with a bully, like half the time. Mm-hmm. It's very much.
Well, when you say conservatives, you mean Republicans, right?
I mean.
Because in that
Republicans and some Democrats, like conservatives.
Yeah.
The Democratic Party tends to be
center right. Conservative Party. Yeah.
Well, it's a conservative party. You have two conservative parties.
Oh, I would argue that the Republicans aren't conservative anymore. They've just gone full fash.
Yeah. Yeah, I just assumed that fash was a conservative movement. Technically, it's the extreme end of conservatism.
All conservatism it can become fascism because the idea of conservatives is to either keep things the same or just regress backwards. So,
right.
You eventually find fascism in every Republican Party on Earth. Every conservative party on Earth has a tinge of that.
Yes, and as for, I mean the thing is like. There are some people who actively want to kill people, but there's far too many people who are willing to watch people die, and that's like the big problem in my mind. Plenty of Republicans don't care if trans or disabled. Plenty of Democrats and Republicans don't care if trans or disabled people die. Obviously, plenty of people don't care about creating an enforcement section to the ADA. which that needs to happen because just look around and you're just like, well, no one who uses a wheelchair can get into 99.99% of these places.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, accessibility is like, it's often the last thing that like people think about is like, oh yeah, we should consider that. A lot of protesters and like marches sometimes don't have accessibility options, and so advocates have to like fight for that as well. And then of course the fucking Turks everywhere, I think. Yeah, this is heretic. Yeah, exactly. And that's another thing that we can mention this throughout the show as well, because like I didn't realize this until like last week, because like, oh, apparently last week was a non-binary awareness week, with July 14th being non-binary day. How come I not know about these things? But
I never remember these things.
Yes, but like, so like Tavi said, I brought it up in like her Discord server and like in other places, because someone just shared a video and said, now this person that said like, I don't agree with everything in this video, but they do think that like it is a problem for conservatives not being listened to, for being shunned, and
I wish they were shunned. I wish they weren't listened to.
As Emily Chambers, yeah, I probably should like hit you up, Emily Chambers. I'm gonna put in my email address. I don't know if you're on like Twitter or on Facebook and anything like that, but like you can find me on Facebook as Jonathan Scott. It's that's public knowledge. That's fine. Twitter, I'm on Summer and a Geek as always, and there's my email address, so you can just like email directly to me, and we can like hook up and like arrange things. Because I would actually like to also like hear you talk or speak and like invite you on the show like next week or something like that, if you're willing to and able to. Oh, totally fine if you can't, no problem. But like, so back to conservatives being alienated shown, it's like, it's so interesting. And so the person shared this video, and I just like look at the title, why I left the left, plus my woke university. And the thumbnail, it used one of those classic like photos that anti-feminists use. So like, look at these raging feminists. It's the
Is
one
it the
with
pink-haired?
Not the red-haired one. It's a girl with glasses that's like brown hair going like this, basically being angry, upset of like something that's been said. And that's, again, it's like, okay, so it's a third photo that's like used to represent like the SJWs essentially. And so like the point was like, who we should be listening to.
Hi guys, it's Misha.
And I was asked by the person that posted the video to watch the video with an open mind, and I was like, I have some things to say before watching the video, and typed out. I exceeded the character limit for a Discord message, I think twice that first time. I was like, if I was going to watch the video, I would be really hesitant. I did not watch the video. Someone else watched it and said, oh my God, there's so many red flags already in this video. She called herself a classical liberal. Okay, we're not there. And like so many other like different tropes and like cliches that like the right wing always does. So it's a classic why I left the left, like with Dave Rubin, like with like and so I it's just like, okay.
Why you left the center right.
Yes. Hey,
why you left the center right for the far right.
Yeah. So the video producer, why I left other videos, the next video that the person that did watch the video was recommended was like that person going against the drag time reading hour at libraries, attacking like the trans performers reading to kids, as it were. And he even left a comment. It's like, no, there's nothing wrong with these like things. These are great. This is like for inclusive and for diversity. And the comments that the person got from like the fans and audience of this person is, okay, groomer. So, and I'm supposed to listen to conservatives like that. And again, conservatives in the American context as the Republicans, fascists, essentially. And yeah.
And I responded to I put a comment under a video by Zoe B saying, normalize calling them fascists, not conservatives. In a video about PragerU. Mm-hmm. And then I got a reply from someone in this big wall of text saying, oh, they're not conservative. He's not fascist, he's conservative. Oh, he can't be fascist because the Nazis hate the Jews. He's Jewish. I'm like, Okay,
What?
yeah.
That's not how fascism works. Fascism is a capitalistic authoritarian system.
And he said that no, conservatives are actually more reactionary than fascists.
Okay.
And you'll probably not be even the least bit surprised to hear that this lying for fascism. His handle was Benito Mussolini.
Okay. Here's the thing, and this is why the fascists and conservatives is so intertwined as well, because the fascists like to drape themselves in the American flag and have the American flag as their profile pics, as it were, because that's again that's why they can just hide with the conservatives, as it were. And honestly, man, the conservatives agree with a lot of their points too about traditional values, for example. It's just some conservatives, like the Democratic Party, probably don't agree with the black people who should be in the whole separate country, as some ethno-nationalists advocate for, and which is why some of those ethno-nationalists no, we're not white supremacists. White people are not better than black people. Black people just should have their own island that you all move to, as it were. Remember, we brought them here and we invaded this country too, this eternal island, as it were.
Well, what would a white ethno state look like? I'm curious. What would that look like?
I don't want to know. That sounds incredibly boring.
I agree.
If we're talking
It
about,
would look like Nazi Germany, because that's what they were trying for there as well.
Would it be like inbreeding, right? Would it be that?
Oh no, because there'd be tons and tons of unwanted sexual contact from the ruling class toward the undesirables, because that's how it's always worked.
Don't forget that there's a lot of fascists that are all about this purity thing where they don't masturbate either. It's their Christian values, traditional values, theocratic Christianity too. Those are the kind of people obsessed with people being virgins and that sort of thing, and fetishize that sort of thing.
But they still had sex slaves.
Yes.
Remember Richard Spencer, the dapper Nazi, had an Asian girlfriend.
True. Yeah,
at least for a little while.
At least for a little. I think they're they're separated now.
Was it Tila Tequila?
No, no,
no. It's just some random Asian girl.
You guys know what I'm talking about, though, right?
I heard the name. I've heard the name of the artist.
She was the bisexual trans woman, I think. Or was she just bisexual?
She was also a neo. She was like a neo-Nazi. She was like an Asian woman, trans Asian woman who was a neo. She made a video of herself in a skimpy SS outfit.
Oh,
photoshopped in front of Auschwitz.
She took a step further than just that Beauty Pie then. Oh wow! Because Beauty Pie did dress up as cosplay as a Nazi too, and then had those two teenagers in India to hold up a sign of death to the Jews. And yes, Beauty Pie, you get in trouble for that sort of thing. Mainstream America's not cool with that, thankfully. As Indigenous Heritage has a good point. Right wingers say that about every movement, organizations, Jordan Trump it's Jordan Trump said they were saying missing and murder Indigenous women and girls wasn't real and it was a money scam. And Indigenous Heritage can comment that's right wingers say about that every movement though. I don't know how to tell what's real and what's fake, but their processes need to work. Unseasoned food is what they would taste like. Yeah.
I'm just looking into Tia Tequila, not trans, and according to her, not bisexual. That was just a thing she did to drum up popularity for her show, because she did a show dating Tia Tequila, Shot of Love with Tia Tequila. And the thing that made it different was that they're both men and women vying for her.
But she did dress up as a Nazi though.
In 2018, she uploaded a video to YouTube to confess she was neither lesbian nor bisexual, only pretended to be in order to pay ratings. Digitally, she associated homosexuality with the devil and referred to the former contestants of the show as degenerate and disgusting. Ooh, those are Nazi dog whistles.
Yep.
In December 2013, she posted an article on her website titled "Why I Sympathize with Hitler, Part 1."
Oh, God!
She also posted pro-Hitler and anti-Semitic comments on her Facebook page, as well as photos of herself as a scantily clad Nazi, posing in front of the photo of the Auschwitz concentration camp. These actions angered her Facebook followers and resulted in Facebook closing her account and removing the material in question.
Wow, Facebook actually removes hateful content. That's
well,
surprising.
It was made by a brown woman, so yeah.
Oh, right, of course.
Yeah, in August 2015, she became a contestant in the 16th series of Celebrity Big Brother, but was asked to leave on its second day when producers became aware of her comments and photos. She subsequently apologized for her comments blaming them on depression and drug addiction. On May 2016, tweeted, Jewish American political commentator Ben Shapiro should be gassed and sent back to Israel, and later posted that there are only two things in this world for which I would gladly sacrifice my own life, the destruction of all Jews and the preservation of the white race. You know what will help Asians earn respect? An Asian version of Adolf Hitler. I want that person to be me. I want to save the world from this dying disease. Good Lord.
Oh, wow. That is
in June 2016,
so...
she accused Sarah Silverman and the Jews of killing Jesus, before saying the comedian was next on a celebrity sacrifice list. Good Lord.
Jeez.
On November 19th, 2016, she attended an alt-right National Policy Institute meeting celebrating the election of Donald Trump, organized by white supremacist Richard Spencer, and posted photos on social media of herself doing a Nazi salute. One was posted to Twitter with the text, Sig Heil, and his hand. November 22nd, her account was suspended. Consequently, she joined Gab. Maybe she was the one dating Richard Spencer. Fuck.
She said the how she didn't learn from the other Nazis to call it the Roman salute. My God, she's terrible at as they would say, hiding her power level.
She's very masked off. She forgot her mask. I hate my brain. She forgot her mask at Auschwitz.
Oh God.
She's also a flat earther.
Of course, because we talked about this before. That Indiana Jones, saying that the Nazis would be in the occult stuff. No, the Nazis were in the occult stuff. They were researching that sort of thing, so they would totally be in the flat Earth and that sort of thing too. And like Tavi said, before on the show, it started there as an anti-Jews conspiracy of the flat Earth, that sort of thing.
Almost everything relates to some degree to the Russian anti-Semitic. Well, not everything, but a lot of modern conspiracy theories relate to the Russian anti-Semitic thing, which I forgot the name of for some reason. You can see it in you can find it on FBI docs or something. I can't remember. It's very public knowledge type thing, that document. But
you're talking about Protocols of the Elders of Zion?
Yes. So many conspiracy theories are basically just that with a couple changes.
I'm trying to think. It's okay, how do they connect aliens making the pyramids into a Jewish conspiracy? The Jews are covering it up, that sort of thing, because the aliens are their overlords.
So the Jews are aliens. They're actually human.
That makes sense.
That way you can dehumanize Jewish people a lot easier. And also, I think I've read. I don't think I got through the whole thing, but I think I read some of that just because I obsessively like to understand horrible things in the universe sometimes. And Jewish people are written comic book villains. They're haha, I'm going to destroy everything. We are here to try to destroy all the other stuff, mustache twirling villains. It's so bad. It's so badly.
What if you're Jewish and autistic? It's even worse, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. I am Jewish. I was born and raised Jewish, and I'm autistic.
Yes.
How do you survive in this world then?
I have middle class parents, and I grew up in Minnesota, so I grew up near. I went to Shatikva, so that had a first openly lesbian rabbi. So
nice.
that's how I survived. My parents found the left wing here, and my parents are socialists. So that's how.
Nice.
So take this collection of exaggerated stereotypes and see what picture they form. Okay, a lot of this is coming from, just straight up Nazi propaganda. So you take the exaggerated Jewish hair. Instead of being curly or kinky, you make it extreme. It's ragged. It's, just awful. And then you take the Mediterranean skin, the olive skin tone, and you exaggerate the hell out of that and make it green. You give them a great big nose, warts to make them ugly, traditional Jewish clothes, including a hat that they were required to wear by law in the 16th century Germany, the Judenhut, the Jew hat. A tall, conical, pointy hat with a wide brim. Okay. Everyone who's dressing up as a witch on Halloween is being an anti-Semite.
Hey.
Or, well, not really. They're doing a little bit of anti-Semitism without really knowing it. But yeah, that is where the traditional stereotype of the witch comes from. It's just a collection of anti-Semitic stereotypes. Also, the eating of children is an anti-Semitic thing.
Yeah, they used to think we made matzah with the blood of children or something.
Mm-hmm. That is the original blood Bible.
Well, here's the weird thing about the anti-Semitism, but the United States wants to preference itself as the savior for Israel. Yet during the Trump administration, it had some of the most anti-Semitism, especially from black the Hebrew Israelites.
The Black Israelites or Black Hebrews. I can't remember what they're called.
Black Hotep or something like that.
But I think what it was especially in the South, you have a lot of Southern Baptists who believe really that the world's going to end. And so
when that happens, the Jews will all be exterminated, and they think that's a good thing.
But they have to defend Israel with United States taxpayer military money because they want
Israel has to exist before Jesus can come back.
Yeah, it's bonkers as hell and completely stupid. But that's why they're able to support Israel and Jewish people while still hating Jewish people.
Well, especially since it's kind of the enemy of my enemy is my friend, because Israel it's occupying and taking over Palestine, and so you have to work with Jewish people to be terrible against brown people, essentially, that sort of thing. There was a comment that Indigenous Heretic mentioned earlier about white ethno-states. It's just like Canada and the US, because we're already white ethno-states, pretty much, especially going to the suburbs or the rural places in Canada and the United States. I think most everyone can agree there.
Yeah, that would make me. I always lived in suburbs where I knew someone who wasn't white, so. That would I get uncomfortable if a place gets too white or just too not diverse, and
if a place is too black. So I hear you.
The U.S. by design, some neighborhoods get washed in warm water, with some neighborhoods get washed in cold water.
Yeah, exactly.
The segregation is super awful, or super obvious once you're aware of it. If I go to certain parts of St. Paul, I go a mile away or whatnot, I I don't see a white person, I'm the only white person there, but where I am, most of the people I see are white. If we're talking about exactly where I am, most people are white, but it doesn't take much. It's not far. I'm not far away from where there's no white people, and it's just there are whole segments I've seen on that. I like the Daily Show breakdown, the After Hours, Daily Show After Hours is it called?
Right.
They did a breakdown on the segregation of American, how like all the highway systems, how the bus systems, how like every system was set up to maintain segregation.
It's so fucked up, like with highways and shit. It's like because people don't really think that, but yeah, it's everything in this country that was made in some areas was a factor of either sexism, racism, misogyny. It's kind of the reason why I've always theorized that why we never had a good social safety net is because there was the idea that if blacks or Latino or Mexicans or whatever, if they got a hold to it, they were gonna like take it and never work again. So it was never to have a safety net to
we did have a safety net for a while there, only for white people.
Yeah.
But then civil rights happened, and so the white people destroyed the safety net.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's like definitely a strong part of it is where because like David Graeber would like may he rest in power. They kind of like they thought that like he always like joked how like once like after the New Deal there was a whole generation who grew up in the most prosperous time in relative history in America as it were, and that's formed the hippie movement as it were, but also the civil rights movements, and so the powers that be saw that as like, we're not letting that happen again, and thus neoliberalism comes, and which was always a consolidation of class power, because with neoliberalism is the government working with the big corporations, and so that everything is like work for the big corporations, all the austerity. So it's like, it's sometimes classified with the trick down economics. If like Reagan saying the 4 worst words you can say to someone is like, "I'm from the government, I'm here to help," as it were. So making government be the bad guy and government being out of your life, but the government is in your life. It's just like, and they do regulations, but they do it all for the benefit of the corporations and that sort of thing. So it's not that like the corporations and government are separate, like the right-wing libertarians want to be. The government and the corporations work together for the benefit of the corporations. So
we had classical liberalism, or laissez-faire capitalism, until the Great Depression.
Yes.
After which, FDR comes in and sets up what's known as embedded capitalism.
Yes.
When the government realizes that the free market isn't free, it can't exist without government cooperation, and that you get this cycle of boom and bust because capitalism is a positive feedback mechanism.
Yeah.
And so they come in, they regulate everything, they control it in order to make capitalism stable. And then we replace that with neoliberalism, in which the government becomes subservient to capitalism rather than trying to keep it, in check.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and then there's also all the anti-socialist propaganda that went out along with the capitalist Christian propaganda. The capitalist Christian propaganda is like early 1900s and started the whole evangelical type trend of being like, no, the Bible's for capitalism. I know Jesus said that you need rich people don't go to heaven, but like they meant the bad rich people. The good rich people definitely go to heaven.
See, there was actually a literal gate that was called the camel's, or called the Eye of the Needle, and it was too short for a person to get through while riding on a camel. So they had to get off and lead your camel. That's what it really meant. I actually had somebody say that to me.
Well, it's funny because I used to go to church, a black church, and I never heard them say anything about rich people getting into heaven. So I don't.
Yes, because they're the people who say that rich people go in heaven. Those are the mega churches. So like where you have to like send them money to like they show how strong your faith is, and then the preachers can like just like buy like a private plane in cash twice essentially. And but in the 1950s, that's when like it came about like communism of the USSR. That's where the godless communism there is like, that's where we get "in God we trust" on like money, and then again tying Christianity to capitalism, and then like and Pledge of Allegiance, which granted, you do not have to actually say Pledge Allegiance. but you're kind of shunned or alienated if you don't say the Pledge of Allegiance.
I had a teacher yell at me saying that yes, I did have to say the Pledge of Allegiance, and I said no. Supreme Court said otherwise in 1954.
Oh, it was in I want to say it was high school or middle school. I can't remember which. There was like a teacher intro, like doing early day of school's whole speech thing or whatever, like a superintendent or vice superintendent or something doing a major speech type thing, and he got so pissed because like half the people didn't stand for the pledge of allegiance because like most of the people here didn't care. He got so pissed. He was so pissed off at like everybody, and obviously no one could get in trouble because too many people did it. Like I didn't stand. I know. I know a bunch of people didn't. It's just like
that's one thing when I was like younger. I didn't get why we needed to stand. I'm just like, why are we standing?
And most of the rest of the world is kind of quietly terrified when they learn that we force our children to stand up and swear an oath of loyalty every day.
Yes. Starting at the age of 5.
Do we still do that, by the way? Do kids?
I bet we do.
It probably depends on the school. Probably varies from school to school.
Because maybe some of those Montessori schools run by the hippies don't, but
because I mean, my school wasn't like run by hippies, but it was in a I know my school didn't end up doing that so hardcore, or at least not my high school. Elementary school maybe a little bit more so, but it became less popular slowly where I was growing up, and I was in like more suburban areas, so maybe it depends on, maybe they do that more in certain areas, because I know there's certain segments which are more conservative in Minnesota.
I mean, there's like I don't know if there's any like a politician that's like kind of like campaigned on like getting prayers in schools, but like considering the like a recent Supreme Court decision that like there was a football coach in like
the Supreme Court just lied. They straight up just told lies about all that shit. Fucking assholes.
Yeah. I will say, if you believe that God helps you win football games, you are, I want to say the R word, but that's ableist. You are an idiot.
Well, and this was a great like a joke in like scene in like the first season of the like a Third Rock from Song. Tommy at the like middle school is like playing a basketball, and the coach is like praying to God and stuff like that. Oh, God's going to favor us. Our God's better than their God, right? Like, no, Tommy. We're all praying to the same God. So why is God going to favor us over them? Tommy, just shut up and just do the prayer thing. So it's like I
you know what? Going to like God, like when I used to work at a high school, and I would go to the football game sometimes for free. I don't know. You would probably ask me why the hell I would go to a football game.
No, football is like a awesome entertainment to watch, so I can totally get that.
Well, yeah, there's that, but I would see that, and I would see like all the team members like huddling in for a prayer, and I'm like, I don't get it. I guess people are people this simple and this just dumb, not dumb, but like there's nothing going on up here where they're just like, the guy who made the universe is going to help me win a game on this spec, like, okay, your ego and vanity are.
Well, yes, the entire universe was created for them.
Yes.
Well, it's like stuff like that. I just that when I first like saw that blew my mind. But because I used to go to church with people. I used to like, and by go to church I mean like I was kind of like forced, or I just like decided to do it like on a traditional sense. But I remember like going to like this church here in Tallahassee where some of the people were saying, would you like give your life for God? Like, would you like go to a country where Christianity was illegal, and if they're about to execute you for spreading the gospel, would you give your life? And I'm like, no.
No.
That sounds terribly stupid. I think God gave you a brain too to know that may be a bad idea.
I mean, didn't like God already gave up his only begotten son, Jesus, to die for our sins? So like, hey, and here's the thing about that: if we don't sin, how we're honoring Jesus who died for our sins? If we stop sinning, then he would die for nothing. So
what's a sin? I don't get it. Because
homosexuality is a sin according to some people.
Oh no! A sin is when you make God unhappy. What makes God unhappy is what makes me unhappy, because that's how religion works.
What makes a God unhappy? If you are God and you made the universe, what possible thing that mortal beings on some speck on the other side of the universe? What is that going to like?
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Like you can't even tell. Like if you believe in God and you're saying you know what makes God happy and unhappy, you're essentially saying you have all knowledge, that you are as knowledgeable as God. And
well, no, he gave us our special book.
Well, that's what Franklin Graham would do. He would say, "Oh, God doesn't change his mind." It's like, well, that means you're talking for God. And last time I thought that was a sin. That's actually one of the 10 commandments you're breaking. I thy God am a jealous God. So
yeah, exactly. Well, and that's the thing too. And it's like if you actually read like Old Testament God and compare it to New Testament God, well, New Testament God, I don't know how often he's like in there. Honestly, it's like Jesus.
It's all about Jesus in that one.
Yeah, that one. It's like he seems less of a dick in the New Testament as compared to the Old Testament. A jealous God again, which is why the flood for 4 days and 4 nights, just because of the people sinning. You created those people. You allowed them to sin. If you didn't want them to sin, don't give them free will. It's like
Well, it's like okay, like. And I'm gonna be like honest. I'm gonna be like personal, but I think we know each other to be fine with that. Okay, does like sometimes I masturbate? Does that make God unhappy?
For some people, yes, but also the same people would say that you'll get like hairy hands, and it's just like I wash.
Well, let's ask the important question. Would you prefer it to make God unhappy or God very, very happy? Too happy.
He watches all of us.
Some people are lonely. Some people can't find a girlfriend or whatever because I don't know.
Yeah.
How does me jerking off effect make him upset? That's my question. Are you just gonna like give like is a girlfriend supposed to fall off the sky into my lap? Like okay. And of
that's
course,
a plot of a porno I've seen, I bet. No wait, it was an anime show. Oh my goodness. But I'm not sure if the guy was actually masturbating, but the girl just like came out of the sky and fall on his lap. Yes, I believe that did happen.
God. It's because people aren't sacrificing enough floating ribs,
or goats or anything like that. And remember, put the blood of the goat on your window, and then your firstborn would not be killed, according to one of the plagues.
Yeah, but that was a specific time period, and also, if we're talking about rabbinical stuff, because we don't know where the last synagogue was, that's the reason why we can't do sacrifices to stuff, because it has to be in the special temple.
Yes. Now
religion's complicated.
It is. Yes, Mithril. It's a Sin is a brilliant Pet Shop Boys song. That's a great song, I swear. All right. How I first heard of that song is from an anime music video using Neon Genesis Evangelion, the classic one, to match with that song. That's a good anime music video. So that's how I learned some of my like musical acts that I'm a fan of now, like the Pet Shop Boys.
The way Christians talk about sin, or just religious people in general, it reminds me of a lot when you would watch like shows like Ancient Aliens, and you would have all these weird scholars come out and talk about, oh, the Mesoamericans or the Egyptians had this energy. Like they always talk about the term energy when they're like describing how these like monuments were built. And that's kind of the same way how Christians talk about sin. It's this ethereal I guess malice that just exists in the ether that no one has defined. No one talks like no one's like really like defined it. People just define what they think sin is, right? They're just like some people would say homosexuality is a sin, but of course that doesn't make any sense since any kind of relationship would be a sin because you're fornicating to get that person. So what's your point? It's just two people of the same gender doing it, but I don't. Okay.
I believe sin is a giant oceanic creature from Final Fantasy X.
Okay, fun fact.
That's actually Sheen.
I gotta run though.
No problem. Thank you for saying say it for as long as you did.
Thank you, Isaiah.
This a great conversation. You probably had a lot of good insight.
I'll probably try to pester you to see if I can get you on the show too. I'm just like,
oh please.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you follow me, I have an Instagram, I have a Facebook, I have my own YouTube channel. So
yes, Senator Intelligence. It's Senator Intelligence. YouTube channel is linked down below, and like I can also
okay. If it's linked down below, I should be able to find it quickly.
We have
My Instagram is Culture 92. I'm gonna be putting out a video this week about the Georgia Guidestones.
Nice. And yes, MH Chambers, I was about to make that point of like talking about like Zen or energy and ki and all that stuff like that. Yes, Jesus is a Jedi because the Force is the energy field that binds us, hold us all together. Bye, Isaiah. Take care. Like, have a good day. Later.
See you guys later.
See you next week.
Franklin Graham still is a trip, Emily. Billy Graham was the dad who was dead. Franklin Graham is his bigoted son.
I just saw your comment, John, of like I bet Jesus gives the best hand jobs. And like David Skog, our original troll, it says like Jesus is a jet fighter pilot fighting communism from above. Yeah. Now Final Fantasy X. My entire family was like, except for my dad. My dad doesn't play video games other than Dr. Mario. But the rest of my family, my siblings and my mother were playing Final Fantasy X a lot. I wasn't playing Final Fantasy X when everyone else was. So much later, I finally started playing Final Fantasy X. Spoilers for like a really old video game as well. And it's just like, I think, I think the sin being like Tidus's dad. And that was not much of a spoiler. I think it was hinted at before, so it's like, okay, that's fine. It's like, but when my mom's saying, it's like, oh wow, he's fighting really well for a dead guy. He's dead. I thought you knew. It's just like, no. It's like you watch us play. It's like, no, I don't watch what you guys play. I want to play the game for myself and not be spoiled. And yeah, the cool ass badass person is a unsend as it were. Basically, he just refused to go to heaven essentially away. So it's like.
Well, I mean, yeah, but I mean that's to cause the rebirth cycle because it's believed that if the rebirth cycle doesn't happen, then in a short enough period of in every 1,000 years or something, or X number of years, maybe it's less than 1,000. Given how many people were still alive during the time. But like, yeah, every certain number of years, then sin will become too powerful, and then the world will end or whatever. So it's continuing a cycle because they believe if they don't continue the cycle, everything's doomed.
Franklin Graham got canceled in Blackpool, just 10 miles from me, as the council decided his preaching was something bigoted. The conservatives and evangelicals are not being allowed to talk and not being allowed to listen to and being alienated. And it's just like, I forgot to mention that, like, apparently I have to set someone by just skipping the video and dismissing the points of just like, you gotta talk to conservatives, you gotta like, you can't shun them and ignore them. I think this is one thing when I asked that question to social media of like, should we shun or ignore conservatives or the fascists, essentially, the Republicans in the USA, for example, or like any conservatives in like other countries, like the liberals in Australia or the Tories in like UK. My older sibling said, okay, listen, as a movement, we can't really ignore them and that much because they can get into positions of power or are in positions of power. So like we have to acknowledge what they're doing and monitor them when we have the spoons to do so. And know how to combat them and that sort of thing. However, as individuals, totally we can shun and alienate whoever we want to. If your uncle or whoever is racist and you don't want to hang out with racists, don't hang out with your uncle. Don't talk to your uncle. It's okay to like. I personally find it fine to end friendships because of political differences or because of that person believing that like trans women are not women, that sort of crap. Talking to my coworker, he's like, I'm not anti-gay. It's if you're gay, that's totally cool, something like that. But I'm not pro-gay either. Okay, that's interesting, but they'll come up. And then he said, it doesn't bother me if someone is gay. It doesn't bother me if someone's anti-gay. It's like, no. It will bother me if someone's anti-gay. But his reason that he wasn't pro-gay is because he felt like the gays turned Solo in Star Trek Beyond gay. He take a straight character. Oh no, I fight him on this one.
Oh my god, what?
It came down to that for the Calvin Universe Star Trek characters, those characters do become the original series characters if it weren't for that split in the timeline.
Okay, but like we don't know Sulu's relationship status in the original Star Trek, or most people don't. I don't.
My coworker said George Takei says that Sulu is not gay. I say George Takei does not own the character Sulu, and that was John Cho that played Sulu in Star Trek and Star Trek in Darkness and Star Trek Beyond. And yeah, you're exactly to your point. It's like we didn't know like Sulu's relationship status. So like he had a daughter. But like he could have adopted too.
Well, yeah, and also like it's an alternate universe. It was the other point you said. It's an alternate universe, so like who cares? Because technically things it's like the butterfly effect.
Yeah.
Lots of stuff changes when you change one thing, and a Romulan experimental mining ship. I can't remember the plot of.
Yeah, it was a mining vessel from the future. Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, apparently I was right. But like, teleport to the past or whatever, and kills someone who wasn't dead. So like, I don't know. What's Sulu's age? Like things might have already been changed before Sulu was born.
Yeah, exactly. I don't remember what Sulu's age is in the Calvin versus movies. I still haven't seen the second one, Into Darkness, because like I'm not interested to. I honestly,
I like the third one.
It's Star Trek Beyond's the best one, which is the one where we saw that like Sulu is gay. They should have kissed though. I wanted a gay kiss, but apparently there was plans for that gay kiss, but they cut that out because of mommies complaining, or like they thought they would push it too far. I forgot to exactly. Maybe
they would have had to edit the gay kiss out for China.
Yeah, of course. Capitalism coming in to enforce this sexual patriarchy too because of China as well. Yep. And because of like China is a huge market for like many movies now, so like have to please the Chinese culture and the Chinese government and that sort of thing. No, additionally, does have a good point. I think those that can talk to the fascists, talk to the service should. The rest of us don't have to. We have to educate them somehow, but doesn't have to fall on everyone to do so. And that's I wish I like mentioned that point too in this discourse of like should we talk to the conservatives. It's not easy for some people to talk to conservatives as well. Yeah. Honestly, for me, it's not easy to talk to some conservatives because some at one point or another they're just going to like say something I fundamentally disagree with, and then I'll go into like lecture mode, which is also what I did in that like Discord server during the discourses where because after the first comment I made where I exceeded the character limit once, then someone else that told me if, like the content of the video and the content of the video producer minutes, and I was like, okay, I can skip this video then. And then I proceed to like 3 comments two of them which exceeded the character limit on Discord of like 2,000 characters. It's because I talk and communicate and think in like mini essay forums or essay forums. Sorry, and that's probably like a not great technique of me. That like instead of like actually conversing with people, I tend to do like information lecture mode or what I really do information overload. And I gotta like learn how to control that.
Yeah. I definitely do information overload sometimes, and sometimes I blurt things and forget to explain the important steps before that.
Yes.
And I'm just like, because once I did that on someone's stream, and I was talking about how if we domesticated like chimpanzees, that we could create human-like intelligence or something like that, based on like a social learning theory that I read up about in when I took like really basic biology, but it's based off the fact that dogs learn like completely differently from other animals. But there are other problems with that reasoning, but like also I just sort of blurted that out, and there's like so many things that I didn't mention that were kind of important to even consider that as a possibility, which is still like a random hypothesis, and based on the fact that dogs may have domesticated themselves, there's arguments that we wouldn't even know how to do the proper stuff necessary to formulate new species. I think in mad science sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure you haven't noticed, Mithril. And Emily Chambers has a good point. We don't own anyone our history or experiences as well as our time. So if you just want like a shun and avoid conservatives, that's all up to you. And I think my problem with like someone suggesting that we shouldn't shun or shouldn't ignore conservatives like on an individual basis, we gotta talk to them because they feel alienated. Tabby brings up an excellent point. It's like, okay, how many of these martial arts people feel alienated from people that actively hate them? But like as anarchists, me and John Brackman are anarchists. Like we are for freedom of association, but that also means freedom of disassociation, which is often the part that like gets forgotten when like discussing anarchists and sharing anarchism. Because many people like would ask the question, okay, what to do in this situation? What to do in this situation? It's like, okay, if that's a terrible person that you're interacting with, don't interact with that person. Freedom to disassociate, which in this context does mean shunning, does mean alienating, does mean ignoring like conservatives or like terrible people that think that like trans women are not women or there's only two genders. I should not have to talk to someone that believes that there's only two genders if I don't want to as a non-binary person.
Well, yeah, and there's all there's just all sorts of the effort that goes into things, because like if you already experience microaggressions, then why like it makes everything that much more taxing inherently, and then if there's other stuff that causes it to be even more taxing, it's just you don't have owe them, and half the time they're just wasting your time anyways because they have made a position and they've decided to only look at facts that support their position. And they haven't gotten to it's hard to get someone in a position to think critically about something, because there's like a knee-jerk thing that most people do with most stuff. Like if you have a good idea about something, or you think you have a good idea about something, it's easy to knee-jerk to like a particular answer. But for you to actually think and process, you have to like stop and think about like the end goal or motivations or whatnot, because a lot of this stuff is like debunked if you just stop and think about it. Like that's all you need to do. You just need to be like, okay, why do you think like effectively why do you think trans people want to destroy themselves along with the rest of humanity? Like that's nobody wants that. So why are you thinking, like, why do you think that trans people would want to make everyone trans.
Mm.
Like being trans is all about being yourself. It's all about different people being different and being themselves. So like, why?
Yeah, and it's like, and that's damn, where my thought was going. I had a thought and I lost it. I try to think that nothing happens.
Oh, I've done that so much. I start speaking and then like a thought doesn't pop up, and I thought a thought would pop up and then it didn't, and then I'm just like, where was I going with this conversation? What was I saying?
Right, because like oh yeah, that's it. I think for unfortunately for a lot of people, like in like the USA and probably in other parts of the world too, and this might be a human condition. We don't like to be proven wrong, and some people just don't like to be lectured too, and it's something to have to like figure out to where people are, because like a lot of like on social media, for example, we use a lot of slogans, we use a lot of provocative statements of like eat the rich or kill all landlords or all cops are bastards and something like that, and there's almost kind of two kinds of reactions where one person will be like, why do you say all cops are bastards? Why do you do that? And then maybe
my cousin Dave's a cop and he's a good guy.
And then other people react to it non-favorably and almost shuts them down, so they close themselves off to like being able to like listen to anything, as it were. Also, right-wing people don't have anything new to say. It's all like the same old fascist garbage. Yeah, like, so when I saw the title of Why I Left the Left and like my woke university, I'm just like, I'm not going to learn anything new from like this person. And someone else who saw the video was like, oh yeah, all of the talking points that the right-wing always do. It's like the same here. Emily Chambers, you mean bodily autonomy is important? Yes, Emily Chambers, you're right. Bodily autonomy is important. And Jordan repeats, that's a good point. It's like you ended a 3-year relationship because the group I hang out with were talking shit about like BLM. And yeah, it's like some people have like lines, and it's okay to like say you have crossed that line. I'm not going to be friends with you. I happen to have like a line. It's like, are you pro-capitalism, or are you like uncritically, or you even thought about it, heard of communism, heard of socialism, but then think it's like the terrible USSR and only that, or like misunderstanding that you're pro-capitalism and you're not one to understand or learn how I'm anti-capitalist and why, then no, I don't. If I can avoid being friends with you, I'm not going to be friends with someone who's pro-capitalism, as it were.
Well, yeah, and I mean, like I'm a bit softer on that because people people have been conditioned to be pro-capitalism and have like only associated communism with like the USSR and maybe China, and socialism or whatnot, even though like part of the reason socialism, they're like, oh, socialism didn't work. You know why it didn't work? Because the CIA did coups. Like the CIA has done coups for like and there's there are documents that are out about the CIA doing coups on socialist governments because the socialist governments would be for the people and not for America, which is the ideal for nationalistic entity, is to do what's best for the country you happen to have decided that you like.
Yeah, people loathe being people loathe being wrong, and yet we pull out the cognitive biases to remain wrong instead of like changing our minds to what's right.
That reminds me of something. Sorry, that reminds me of a thought I had before that I forgot about. I think people associate being wrong with shame, and some of that might be the educational system. Some of it might be like if you're wrong in the educational system, it's not about, oh, you'll learn, get better. It's about you are bad because you got an F on this.
Yes, and yeah, oh man,
God, but you are bad if you get an F on something.
I actually I have personal experiences. I cried in the middle of math class in 4th grade or 5th grade one of those times because I got a correction wrong, or like assignment wrong, or just, no, not assignment, just one problem wrong. and it was pointed out to me by the teacher in middle class in front of everyone. So that's definitely a factor in that, as like the social shame of that. But yeah, and because of like how the grading kind of ranks us against each other too, in that way of like who gets A's and who gets B's, and like if you get too many F's, you have to repeat, and sometimes, and in other school systems, how like the test scores are made publicly made, so you know where you are compared to others. Yeah, so being wrong is like terrifying thing for many people. I've gotten used to it, I guess. I had to get used to that since I'm a white person, and because as the district heretic has often said, the most infuriating subcategory of people is the know-it-all, like what mediocre white person that doesn't know it all but thinks it does. Point an example of new atheism.
And the Republican Party.
Oh yes, exactly. But like we're coming up to we're 5 minutes past like our usual cutoff point. We usually only do like 90 minutes or, and we didn't even talk much about like being non-binary and non-binary experience. But like, hey, even though July 14th was non-binary day, every day is non-binary day for me since I'm always non-binary. Same thing with like digital heretics, same thing with Osmonauts, if I'm correct on that. And so we can do non-binary awareness at any time. Doesn't have to be a specific week in July. So Osmoth in the Dark, who are you and where should people find you? I think she froze. Did I froze?
You're not frozen to me, but I think she may have.
Okay, so if she her connection gets better or like she comes back, then
she
like,
has a YouTube channel.
Yes.
I don't remember what it's called.
It's just Osmoth in the Dark. Emily Chambers, yeah, she's gone, unfortunately. But they are awesome. So there's their YouTube channel. You can like go and check them out. But the Osmoth in the Dark also has like a Twitch channel. There's a Twitch channel right there. You can drop in and follow. Oh wait, thanks. Okay. There you go. You're back.
Okay. Yeah. No. It was like no, the cat. There's the thing. The cat wasn't the person who did the problem, but now I don't know how to turn on my oh wait, there we go. Start video. Okay, there we go. I'm back. But like no, it like my the browser is like crashed for some unknown reason, and then the computer crashed.
Oh.
I like what yeah.
Well, you came back in time to just be able to tell us who you are, where can people find you, and to like say goodbye to the audience too.
Oh, okay. I'm Osmond in the Dark. You can find me a lot of places on the internet, because I try to secure as many places as possible on the internet. Like I was like, okay, I choose a name, and then for business purposes, and then I'm just gonna take every version of this, so in case anything happens, you'll know where to find me, and I won't have to deal with the issue people get when they get famous. Anyways, if they get famous, whatever. Yeah. You can find me mostly on YouTube at Osmond in the Dark. I'm continuing a breakdown of a terrible turfy book. One of the two terrible
J.K. Rowling?
No, the OG turf. The one the second book I'm going to reanalyze at some point is the one called The Transsexual Empire, the creation of the she-male or something to that effect.
Good Lord.
It was written in like 1979. It was like a lot of turf stuff is based off of this person's view on stuff. So I want to break down the OG turf, and the book I'm breaking down currently is something that like women friends type thing, and it essentially says lesbianism is a choice. And oh, by the way, this OG turf is an ex-nun. Yeah, no, and she says that feminism isn't about equality between men and women. She always viewed it as an equality between women and themselves. These are
what?
Yeah, no. Here's the thing. I couldn't get far in the book originally because I was reading it on my own, but then I realized I needed notes because this person reframes every definition. But anyways, you can find me on the Fluid Voice at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific every Sunday, unless life happens in a negative way.
And tonight,
we're Indigenous to Heretic. Yeah, we're talking about racism. The topic is racism in queer spaces. Yeah. I couldn't words it.
Words are hard.
Yeah, words are pain. I also stream on Twitch on Mondays and Tuesdays, and I might move the last Twitch day to Thursdays. Okay. So I can have a day off in between because I might actually need that because Wednesdays I keep not having the mental energy to deal with Wednesdays. So I'm like, well, that means I need to reschedule things. But I stream League of Legends on Twitch and the Rainbow Shelter News on Tuesdays on Twitch, and then I put it up as premieres on the Fluid Voice channel on Wednesday. Sorry, or I try to do it on Wednesdays. Okay. Put that up, and then yeah, no, I think that's the main thing. I'm also technically on Instagram, Twitter, Mastodon.lol. So many places. I should just send you the link tree.
Oh, that's
most of them I don't do much in outside of Twitch, YouTube. Okay. Twitch and the 2 YouTube channels. So those are the important ones.
Okay. Oh yeah, you do have a link tree. It seems like. Yep. Awesomoth in the dark. I'll copy the link and place it in the chat right now. So yes. Yeah. As Airtail is with us, like he does his own YouTube channel of like the Sinister Intelligence. I should like also find his Instagram and like I posted into the thing. So since that is the best way to like probably get a hold of him or like find him, other than like Facebook, if you happen to be friends with him on Facebook. Oh no, someone that's friends with him on Facebook.
And he also has an Insta.
Yes, his Instagram. That would be the best place to find out. But I forgot what it is. Ian. Yeah, Tabby was here. She doesn't have anything to promote. I didn't ask her, and she has a Twitch channel, but she's just haven't been touched it in years. But I'm Summer Geek on YouTube. I should put up more videos on my YouTube channel. I swear I will do this. I swear I will do this eventually. I swear on one of these nights when I'm not playing Fortnite for 4 hours, I will put up more videos on my YouTube channel. Cat.
Yeah, no, I saw it too. I think that was Billy. I'm not.
The tuxedo, yeah. It was a tuxedo with a white chin. I'm Summer and a Geek on like Twitch too. I should go back to like Twitch streaming. It's been over a month, and it's like and as I don't know what I'll be streaming if I'm streaming on Twitch. And Summer and a Geek on Twitter. You can find me there posting things somewhat regularly, but not daily because like I have work to do. There's work 6 hours a day. John Bruckman, you are part of another podcast, aren't you?
Indeed, I am. Dungeons and Debacles, although we haven't recorded in more than a month now because of scheduling snafus.
Wait, Dungeons and Dragons and scheduling snafus? I've never heard of such a
thing. Also, don't forget Cherry Links doc page. I haven't posted like my friends like the things as well, but like Cherry Links doc page is down below. But like there's a lot of people that like ask for help regularly, including a couple of disabled queer people. Give Phoenix money. There's like a GoFundMe. You can also share around like their GoFundMe if you can't give, and it's understandable. And Joanna Roberts is actually queer. I did actually ask her. I think asexual, biromantic, or something like that. But has also trans NB son that she raises and take care of as best as she can. But she really needs like she also needs some money, and that's her latest baking bowl. I try to give as much as I can to both Phoenix and both Joanna, but right now I only have like $13 to like give to like either one until this Friday, and that's unfortunate because like Joanna needs to have an internet bill she needs to pay, and Phoenix always has like bills that like they need to pay too. But yeah, so Cherry Links that page. And thank you everyone for coming, listening, and watching. Don't forget to practice self-care, stay hydrated, medicate, and take care of yourself. It's a fucked up world out there, but like self-care is not selfishness, it's self-preservation. Remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye-bye. Sasha says bye. And you do this